Man, y'all tuned in another episode of Popparotz Tv. Special episode. We going to Pennsylvania with it. Central PA to be exact.
Central Pennsylvania, yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
See now, you're going to have to put me on the game because growing up, I knew that as Quaker country. I didn't even know they had black folks over there.
There's not a lot of game out there. Right. I will say that, or that kind of game.
Yeah.
I definitely was like one of the two black families out there in my hometown, yeah.
So, all right, so how was that experience growing up and just the whole how was that experience growing up? One, and number two, when you went to Temple, I know about Temple University.
Yeah.
So that you go from one end of the spectrum to the other end of the spectrum.
Yeah, no, for sure. So I grew up. So I'm actually adopted. So my parents, white family. So I definitely was like I stuck out in my hometown, and I don't know. It was like I had a really good childhood, like a good foundation, but like I definitely always felt different and like I stood out. Obviously it was hard for me to like connect with people, and I always felt like I was like overcompensating or being too loud or too quiet. But I really found like my path when I started singing with my family in church because my parents are pastors, so I also was like a pastor's kid as well, which is like
beautiful, but very strict at the same time.
Yeah, exactly. And like my parents were cool. They're like they're really like kind of easy pastor parents when it comes down to it. But there's definitely like a lot of pressure to like be a certain way, and then you add being like the only black girl there. It's like it was interesting. And then when I went to Temple, that was a culture shock. Like that was like a culture shock. I remember like calling my mom and being like, I gotta go home. Like I can't do this. Like I was like, this is not what I'm used to at all. Yeah. And it was the first time I've ever been like away from home too. But I stuck it out.
You definitely did.
Learned to love it. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a very beautiful, unique experience. Because I see you're a fan of Beyonce. I see you're a fan of listening with different other people. So, growing up in your household, well, your parents being pastors, what were you allowed to listen to?
So I wasn't like allowed to listen to much because my mom is like super strict Catholic, like was like no secular music like in the house, okay? But my dad, he's a musician, so he grew up, he can play like any instrument, like he's just super talented, so he like loves music. So we would always be in the car and we would listen to different songs. He would like put me on to like old music, like black music as well. And then I remember like, I had friends in the neighborhood and I would like borrow their CDs and I would go out into the car during the day because I was homeschooled as well. And I would listen to the CDs like in the car, lock the door, and like hide from my parents. And Beyonce, Destiny's Child, like they were definitely like always on repeat.
Wow. Okay. Beautiful. So you honestly, even though you grew up a little differently as far as like having Caucasian parents, you pretty much grew up in a household of like anybody else who had responsible parents. Hey, you can't listen to this, you can't listen to that. I know I couldn't listen to certain things growing up for sure. My mom and daddy wasn't playing that neither. So
yeah, exactly. And there was just like a lot of like shows I couldn't watch either. But like, they were chill. They were pretty chill.
Well, wonderful. So you go to Temple. Now, for those who know where Temple is at, it's in the heart of North Philly.
Now, first, I wanted to go to, like, a Christian school in Virginia, and my parents were literally like, no, like, you're going to waste money and you're going to get kicked out. So they were like, no, like, you cannot go there. You're going to, like, violate the dress code or something. Like, you have a boy in your room. They're like, absolutely not. Like, you cannot go. So I thought, like, my dreams were crushed. And then I got in the Temple, and it turned out for the better.
So how was, because most people are homeschooled. So how is it you go from being homeschooled and being in a calm, cool, collective environment until you go to Temple and there's everything going on around you at once, and I'm pretty sure it was an overwhelming experience.
Yeah, so it's like, it's also a little complicated. So I'm homeschooled until 6th grade, and then I go to private Christian school until 11th grade. And then I had some complications being there, and I was like, I want to go to public school for my senior year. And my parents were like, well, the only way you can do that is if you take college classes at the local university, like do like a halftime kind of thing. So I did that, and I was able to go to public school. And that was like the real like culture shock. Like I remember like my first day on the bus, like kids were swearing, and I was like, oh my gosh, I've never heard this before. Like, what is going on? And then give me 2 months, and I was like right there with them. But it was like super super shocked that way. And then when I graduated, I stuck around my hometown for 2 years, went to the local college, continued to do like all my general education classes because I like really wanted to do musical theater. And I wanted to get into a really good school for that. So I was waiting until I got into the right spot, was ready, and then I went to Temple.
Dope.
Yeah.
Beautiful. See, like most kids, most people I know who grew up in like in small towns, they just wait until they, turn 18 to go ahead and bust out and just go see the world. Were you one of those kids, or were you kind of apprehensive about leaving at first?
I always wanted to go, but I didn't know like what the right avenue was, right? Like I didn't know if I wanted to do musical theater, if I wanted to do music. I didn't know how far I wanted to be away from home. I had a boyfriend at the time too, so like that dictated it as well.
Understood.
Looking back, I never would have like do that mistake again. But yeah, there's like a lot of factors. I was just trying to like find my way, and I had a theater in my hometown, so I was performing there like regularly. So I was like, okay, this is good for now until I find out like what I want to do.
What we want to do.
Yeah.
Okay, I understand. So in Temple, I'm assuming you're taking, what was your major in Temple?
Theater.
Okay.
Acting. Yeah.
All
Yep.
right. So now you're in Temple and you're having new different experiences or what have you. So those experiences that you have in college, how does that help you as you're getting into the music industry?
Something about Temple is like I definitely learned all about myself. Like I went to Temple like having an identity crisis. Like I did not know who I was. I had never really been around Black people like pretty much ever. Like I would say probably met 12 in my whole life, like growing up in Lock Haven. So when I went to Temple, I was just like, I was shy, which is not normal for me. I'm like very outgoing all the time. And I had a really hard time like adjusting. And it wasn't like the musical theater department and the theater department like was hard to kind of break into. And so I started just kind of going outside of that and meeting people outside of my department, going and auditioning and doing stuff like in town in the city. And
Center
like,
City?
Yeah, Center City. Yep, I love Center City. So I try to do things like that. And, I met a lot of people. There's such a great community in Philadelphia. And like I met so many friends who like really kind of helped me like find my way to my Blackness, which kind of sounds like embarrassing to say now.
That's not embarrassing.
But like that's just my journey, and it took me a little while to get there, but Temple definitely shaped that for me.
See, a lot of people don't realize the music history of Philadelphia.
Yeah.
It's a
for
real
sure.
deep, rich musical history for decades and decades, what have you. So the fact that you have people around you to indoctrinate you into that is a beautiful, wonderful thing.
Yeah, and it was super special for me because I did end up finding my birth family, and they're from Philly.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, so that was like that was really cool to kind of like I didn't find them until I'd moved to New York, but then like lots of stuff like started coming up. Like it turns out one of my substitute teachers is actually like my cousin that I had at Temple. So, which was crazy because I had no idea, but I'm sitting here like having a bond with this like teacher, and my classmates are like, why are you like going to her office hours, like spending time with her all the time and like trying to babysit her kid? And I was like, I don't know, I just like her, I like, connect with her, and turns
And the whole
out
time,
it's
y'all
my
guys
cousin.
are family.
Yeah.
And to get deeper, not trying to get too religious wise or whatever, but at the end of the day, it seems like God placed you there.
No, I definitely like that was not a
Yeah.
coincidence. Like there was something about it, and just the fact that like I was trying to spend time with this person and like really connected with them.
Beautiful.
It definitely was something. Like something was up. Someone had a hand in that. So.
All right, so now you go from Philadelphia to coming up to the big city, the Big Apple.
Yes.
Describe that experience.
So I was doing a lot of theater in Philly. I was getting kind of tired of it. I also didn't feel like I fit in that community either. And I was coming up to New York auditioning, but I'd be up here like 3-4 times a week at like 3 a.m. auditioning, going to all this stuff. And I was like, I'm tired. Like I should just
Move up here.
Yeah. And I was like, I've always wanted to do that. Never really thought it would be a reality. Super scary. Like I was like teaching at the time in Philadelphia. Totally different lifestyle. And then I just kind of like texted a friend. I was like, do you want to move to the city together? And she was like, yeah. And I was like, okay, let's do it in the summer. And we just like packed up and went. And yeah, I spent a lot of time doing theater, honestly, until like the last couple of years. And then I switched over to just do my own thing.
Strictly music.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So that let's get into. I've been paying attention.
Thank you.
You're a wonderful performer. You're a dope performer. You know, you have a certain. You're a unique person in general, but that energy is it's, you know, it stands out.
Thank you.
Like I don't. You know, like you see certain clips on Instagram or have you, and you just scroll past it or whatever, and I see you're doing it. So like I sit back and I watch and I replay it multiple times or whatever because I want to, you know,
Thank you so much.
Just to really, you know, get the full experience
yeah.
or what have you. You know, so it's dope because the acting helped you with the music.
Definitely.
Now you see where I'm going. Make that connection.
Yeah, so like growing up on the stage or like in the church, I was very comfortable being in front of people.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the difference is I've always been in front of people like not being myself.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely had to like find that character that tap into myself when I'm doing my own music that like represents me and my brand and, you know, who I want to be. But I definitely think like all those hours and hours of like weird theater classes where you're doing all those like weird exercises and like studying people like definitely have helped me in my like storytelling when I'm performing my own music.
Copy. Wonderful. Because it's like at the end of the day is, you know, you're telling instead of a 2-hour movie, it's a 3.5-minute movie.
Yeah, and it's your story too when you make
story
your own music. So that's
with your own emotions and
exactly,
you know, and everything, the pitfalls or what have you. So, I was watching video. Also, I was watching video. Is it Back Up?
Back Up. Yep.
Okay, that's a dope video. Who shot the video?
His name is Matt Jensen.
Okay.
So funny story. I met Matt on Hinge. So, you know, I was swiping or whatever, and I saw like this profile. Now, he didn't have like really any pictures of himself. He just had pictures of like cameras and like what he does for work. And I was like, this is some dope work. Like, he looks like a nice guy. He's smiling in his picture. So I hit him up and I was like, hey, like, what are your rates for music videos, like, on Hinge? And he, like, thought I was a bot and didn't think it was, like, he was like, I'm not going to answer this. And I, like, hit him up again. And I was like, hey, like, it's me. He eventually answered. And then he was still kind of, like, cautious, I could tell. And then finally, I, like, gave him my number. And I was like, hey, no, I really want to talk about this. So we've been working together. That's our second music video together.
Wonderful. So, you know, talk about the concept of the video, the inspiration behind the video, the song in general as well.
Yeah. So I wrote Back Up at a time where I was just kind of like going through a season of my life where I was just going out and partying and just like loving life and like enjoying my friend group, summertime. And I remember going to like an Afro party at SOB's one night, and I just had like a dope night out till 4 a.m. just dancing, having a dope time. And the next day, like that's when I wrote Back Up because I was just like feeling it in the club, dancing.
Okay, that's the vibe you was on. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. And I was like, this is very different from anything I've ever written before. So I was super nervous to like put it out in the world. But I was like, this is me. This is what I like to dance to. This is like how I like to sing. And yeah, I just really connected with it.
Man, that's a dope song. And, you know, nowadays, especially with the music and what's going on in the industry, we need those positive vibes, that good positive energy.
Yeah, like I didn't want to sing about a breakup or about being in love. I just wanted to like sing about having fun and like being out and dancing.
Yeah, because not everything's going and doom. Sometimes, you know, there's nothing wrong with going out and having a good time.
Yeah, especially in New York City, you like will meet a whole friend group for one night, party, have fun, connect with them, never see them again.
That's one thing about it. New York, you know, if you're not from New York, people don't understand.
Yeah, exactly.
New York in the summertime is nothing like it.
Nothing like
Beautiful
it.
place on the planet.
It really is. It really is.
You know, so it's dope how you was able to go ahead and convey that. So just the message behind your music in general, like what's the message you want to convey to everybody?
That it's okay to like be young, mess up, fall in love, fall out of love, go out, party, do whatever. Like that's what I want to convey in my music, that you can just like be yourself and be like into yourself.
Dope.
Yeah.
Dope. Okay. You see, that's a wonderful thing. And the most important thing is that it's authenticity. You being yourself. You're not trying to be nobody that you're not.
I can't be nobody else.
And that's a wonderful thing. So, as artists, if you could give advice to artists nowadays, up and coming artists, what was the one thing you'd tell them?
That is a good question. I always say this. Learn to do a little bit of everything. Like, learn how to do video editing. Pick up a camera. Learn how to like do like low level like mixing and mastering so that you know what you're talking about when you go and do your projects. Otherwise, you're not going to get respect, especially being a black woman in this world. A lot of people don't respect you when you walk into a room, and you have to earn that.
Unfortunately.
And yeah, unfortunately, but I also think it's a gift too, because it really makes you communicate, right? And it makes you earn respect from
Sharpen your
people.
skills.
Yeah, and sharpen your skills. Because now, you know, I'm going into the studio and I'm not liking something I hear, and if I don't know how to say what I don't like, then the song's not going to get better, and that's going to affect me, and that's money. Like, I'm wasting my own money at that point.
It's dope how you say that, because a lot of times if you can't convey that message, these engineers, they just trying to take your money. They don't care about what's going on or what have you.
Exactly.
If you can't convey that the proper way, they'll just go ahead and just brush off what you're trying to say and just go ahead and do whatever.
Yeah.
So it's beautiful how you went ahead and explained that.
Yeah, you just got to learn everything. And, like, you might not be good at it. You might not understand it fully. But if you can just get, like, a couple of the words right, the jargon, you know what I mean, the language everyone else is speaking, then you're going to get that respect. And it's gonna mean, like, a huge difference in your music career.
Dope. Now, before we go into this video, do you plan on going back into your acting?
That's funny you say that, because I recently went camping with my parents, and they like sat me down and they were like, "Why don't you act anymore? Like, we loved when you did that." And I was like, it's hard. I was like, it is hard to like wake up at 5 a.m., go to these auditions, and like, especially being a person of color, your roles are so limited. And that's kind of why I left musical theater, because I was like going in for The Color Purple, Dreamgirls over and over and over again. And I was like, I don't want to play these roles anymore. But I have recently like thought about going back into acting, but not musical theater. I think I need to take a rest on that.
All right.
But kind of going back into film and, you know, talking to my agent and stuff again. So we'll see.
That's beautiful. That's dope. You know, we thank you for pulling up. You are multi-talented.
Thank you. Of course. This was fun.
Before we get into the video, you know, tell them the website, if you have any merchandise you're selling, any other thing you have, any events you got coming up.
Yeah, for sure.
Everything.
All right. So again, my name is Ame. You can find me at amemusicofficial.com. I'm on Instagram, ame.musicofficial, Twitter, Spotify, Apple Music, all that stuff.
All information below.
All below right there. And you can catch me. I'm going to be releasing a live session video of like all my EP songs. It's called Into Me. Wow. So be on the lookout for that, live performances. And then hopefully I'll be on stage soon in New York City.
So let's introduce this video.
This is Back Up by Ame. Enjoy.